Welcome into this Tuesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready. Today we are going to break down every pregame scouting report of the UT Martin Skyhawks prior to them playing the Ole Miss Rebels tonight in baseball. And we'll touch on the fact that we have a football opening channel, football opening time, and more in Atlanta for what should be a pretty nice weekend of college football. You look at the entire schedule across the ESPN family of networks there for that Labor Day weekend starting the season. So that and more, obviously joking about the baseball team, but they do play UT Martin tonight at 6:30, the home finale for the Rebels at Swayze Field this season, unless they host a regional, and then they'll be back home at the 100% capacity finale for the Rebels this season at Swayze Field. We think Hoover has a chance to get bumped up here soon, but we'll hit some of these things as the day moves on. But a podcast brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. You can get the Speed Pass Plus app. You download it. You use it. You earn points. And when you earn points, you save money. They're with all Blue Sky locations in Mississippi and beyond as well. But that's the ones we care about here on this here program, including the Oxford Exxon. You get $5.69 lunch specials, 2 sides, bread, 32-ounce drink for that $5.69. Again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is up to you. You can shop it around, or you can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today. You will love the service. You'll love the product, and Corey and the guys there, they want to be your truck guy. They want to be your car guy. It's a different kind of a car market right now. There's a lot more demand than there is supply, so you want to make sure you're getting a good deal. You want to make sure you're not being taken advantage of. Corey will make sure that doesn't happen. 662-257-1900. Guest will join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. Be a great place. Hang out this weekend if you're kind of watching some college baseball, if you're just enjoying a late spring weekend here in Oxford, hang out at Rafters Music and Food, or if you are getting outdoors, looks like the weather's going to be great, get outdoors and enjoy Rafters on the Water. It's open Wednesday and Thursday starting at 5 and then starting on Friday at 11 a.m. So you can enjoy all the great margaritas and food specials out at Rafters on the Water at Sardis as well.
And I know you're not one of them because you like your cold weather and whatnot, but do you get any semblance of, hey, it's warming up?
Sure.
I mean, does it improve your mood at all? I mean,
Sure.
Do you have that type of cabin fever going away?
I like seasons.
You do. You like a very defined calendar from
I like summer.
Standpoint.
I enjoy summer.
Yeah.
I enjoy fall. I enjoy winter. I enjoy spring.
You kind of feel like they all come at exactly the right time, don't you?
Yep.
Like it's good.
I like cold weather. I like the snow.
It's when it doesn't get cold and it's 87 on Christmas Day where you're like, okay.
It's a little depressing. And if it were 61 on July the 4th, it'd be a little depressing.
And we don't deal with that a lot.
I like seasons. I like getting snow in the winter, and I like it to be hot in the summer. In the same way that I like a certain kind of beer in the winter, and I like different kind of beer in the summer. Seasons, as opposed to perpetual summer when we lived in Mobile, where it was just hot. And every day you walked outside and you started sweating and it was hot. And it would be 50 and they'd be going, oh my God, it's freezing. I'm like, shut up. Drive me crazy. That used to drive me nuts.
You wouldn't want to live in like New Orleans?
No.
Where it's just soupy all the time?
No, not all the time. I mean, like for a year, sure. I mean, we lived in Mobile for a long time. But
how long were you there?
Mobile, Spanish Fort, we were there for 10 years.
Okay. Birmingham, how long?
I guess 3.
And that climate's here, basically.
Yeah.
Very, very,
pretty
very
much,
similar.
yeah. Birmingham got seasons. Mobile, you didn't get seasons. Well, you did. You got 10 months of summer. And about...
Like I say, everybody gets seasons.
Got about 2 weeks of spring. About 3 or 4 weeks of fall. And you get about 4 or 5 days of, quote, winter. A very mild winter. That was Mobile.
3 or 4 days.
Yeah. Get cold one day. I mean, I think we saw snowflakes one day in 10 years.
Yeah, for like I kind of swore it off for Lent. I did a pretty good job, but I was watching. I guess I was on YouTube seeing not YouTube, Facebook seeing a golf video I was watching, but on the Facebook Watch thing. It just clicks you to another video when that one's over, and you kind of get down a wormhole or whatever. And it was like
Sure.
one of those little southern skit things, and I forget what the website's called. The whole deal was about this woman was moving to the South or whatever, and talking about when she was doing it. And she's like, yeah. And he's like, when you're moving? She goes, that's sometime in July. And he goes, And she goes, oh, August is better. And he's like, oh, no. Hot then, too. And she's like, what about October? He goes, there's a really good week in October. Yeah, around October, there's a good week in there. Don't know when it is.
Late October.
Yeah. Something along those lines. So,
And I think the calendar's actually backed up a month.
That's been your working theory.
And I'm more and more convinced by the day because it's May the 18th. And I'm telling you, 13 years ago on May the 18th here, it was hotter than it is today. Summer here doesn't start really until June-ish.
Yeah.
And then it keeps going. And it goes longer than it used to go. It used to be cooler like at Halloween.
Yeah,
than it is now.
Chet does have a very good point. He said, I say this every year. Summer's the most overrated season, particularly in the South. It's a mild form of suffocation. You can make the argument.
Oh, sure.
Because if you go, hey, what do you really like about summer? Well, okay. I mean, I like going to the pool. Okay, sure, that's fine.
Sure.
And it's that if I'm trying to play golf, it will either not rain as much, and if it does rain, it will dry quickly and not cause you 3 or 4 days or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're playing golf in dripping wet suffocation every
Sure.
day. So you have to worry about dehydration as you're doing it. So it still sucks compared. Look, the most underrated golf time is fall.
Yeah.
When the weather's still good. And
that's the most underrated beach time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Go down to the beach mid-October. It still gets up to like 90 degrees. But
so you still can do your full whatever you're doing.
But it's not quite as humid, and it cools off a little bit more, and it's not as crowded.
Need a jacket at night?
No.
Okay.
But you're not sweating at night. Like you go in July and you go out, you're still dripping wet. Everybody's like, oh, we're going to go out to eat at such and such and wherever. I'm like, man, sitting outside and dripping wet while you eat dinner is not pleasant.
Well, in some ways, that was the whole deal when we had the outside seating here for going to restaurants during the pandemic. And when it was during the summer, it was like, why?
Yeah, come on. Why?
I don't miss it that much.
Well, it's not pleasant. I don't think it's I don't think this is a profound statement. Going out to dinner should be a pleasant experience.
Be something
It should be pleasing.
Yeah.
To me, I don't think that's a hot take. And if you're sitting outside in southern humidity in July, wiping the sweat from your brow between bites, I don't. That's not particularly pleasing. You can have a good time, but it's not particularly pleasing.
I'll be sweating through your clothes.
I mean, if you're sitting out by the pool and every so often you jump into the pool, that's a different deal.
That etiquette's not okay at dinner. Hey, I'm going to go hop in the lake real quick. I'll be back.
Yeah.
We'll finish the creme brulee.
Right. Exactly.
So, now that we've talked about the weather for a little while, Ole Miss does have a time. You got something there?
No, he's a good point. He starts with tornadoes and ends with hurricanes. So, man,
that's fair.
I can't argue that. That's the other thing I do not miss about the coast.
And
every time there was a damn storm out in the Caribbean, you were having to watch it.
And am I right on this? The hurricane season is dictated by whatever happens in the winter, right? Like that starts from the winter before.
I'm just a local sports blogger. Okay. I don't know.
This is a Wendy's. I don't know. For some reason, I feel like something to do with the water or the way something in the winter is what sets it all in motion and how they predict how bad hurricane seasons are or are not going to be. Huh. I guess in my head that sort of makes sense, but I don't know enough about it to really.
Yeah, I don't know.
Coast people probably could help us out here a little more than
they probably could.
We're aware of. So
I will say, I mean, summers are different in different places. I've told you the story when I was in Mobile and they sent me on the big Brett Favre story. Mm-hmm. And so I flew into Milwaukee a couple of days early, and I went to see the Cubs and Brewers, and then I went to Green Bay. I was in Green Bay for, 3 days. And I was driving from Milwaukee to Green Bay. It was right there along what I guess is Lake Michigan. And it was about 62 degrees and just fantastic. And I thought, well, no, this would be nice. Now, winters.
I could do this.
Winters here would probably not be quite as fun as the winters where I am, but this is nice.
A place that you probably would like a lot, and I've only spent all jokes aside, the 10 days there or whatever. Omaha gets like ridiculous extremes of all the seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Like the summer's hot as hell.
Sure.
But then they get the snow and the whole deal in the winter, and it's in a location where you kind of hit every different bullet.
It's like Oklahoma City when we go visit my brother.
Yeah.
And it'd be summertime, it's 100 degrees, and this hot furnace air is blowing on you.
And it's like,
You're like, man, I don't know how you guys do this.
so I do have something before we get here. Because I need to know more information, and nobody gave it to me. Did you see what I tweeted yesterday when I was leaving your house about the tow truck?
Yeah, it was on fire. What was that?
So
Yesterday on Highway 7 was apparently a hell of a day. Because
this
you
was on
had that-
Industrial Road.
Oh, well, that is basically Highway 7.
Well, we've had that conversation for a while, right?
Yes.
So I'm getting out on Industrial Road, and I see this tow truck. It's coming down Industrial, and it's turning around, though. So, like, as I'm pulling out, it's, like, going down to the second entrance down here.
Okay.
And it, like, pulls in and then turns around. And I'm like, I'm just kind of watching it. And then all of a sudden, I was like, is that flames? And in my head, it's taking a minute to compute here. And like all people in 2021, I'm, like, grabbing my phone going, I have to take a picture of this if it's what I think it is. But at the same time, I'm trying to, like, make sure the driver knows it. So I'm almost kind of trying to, like, wave him down. But he zooms on by me, and I'm, like, snapping while I'm waving at him. And sure enough, the truck he is hauling is freaking on fire. The entire back cab of the pickup is in flames as he's driving down the road.
It was bizarre.
Did he know it?
I would guess not, because that would not be a normal thing to do.
I'm lost. Like, I cannot figure out what was or was not happening.
Did you just keep going?
Yeah, he was headed to Highway 7 to go get on 7.
So Laura saw somebody go completely off 7 and down into a ditch. I pulled into 7, and this car came up behind me. I was going to get Carson from school. It came up behind me on 7, and I mean, the thought went through my mind, there's nothing more I can do. He's going to hit me. Gets right up on top of me and then basically stops.
Mm-hmm.
And then does that deal where you're at fault, not me. And then later when he passes me, I get the finger and the whole deal. I'm like, you did it.
You got the finger?
Oh, yeah. He was mad.
How often you get the finger?
Not often. I do think there's been a little more road rage lately. People are a little.
You think people are more high strung?
People are more high strung. I think we're going to get less high strung as we get back to normal. But yes,
I haven't gotten the finger in a while.
that was the first time in a while.
And you felt like you did nothing
Well,
to deserve it.
I know, because there have been times that
because occasionally I've done something to deserve it. I go, okay, yeah, sure.
Well, sure.
Fine. All right.
Yeah,
I'll take that one.
Yeah, there's times where you just have to eat it because it's on you. But this was not. I mean, I was one of the rare times in my life that I was completely innocent.
I mean, and just think how many fingers you would actually give around here if you did it. Like everybody who went too slow on an off ramp or an on ramp or did anything kind of.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you could just be constantly flipping folks off around this town.
Yeah, this is a weird driving town. It's all over the place.
There's no middle speed. Everybody's going 85 or 5.
Yes.
And then you get to August where the roundabouts become apparently like corn mazes. I mean, like nobody can figure out their way around these things. I'm like, because I judge people because I'll get to the roundabouts and like this car will just come to a complete stop and I'll see like Yalobusha County. I go, okay,
yeah,
fine.
Yeah.
No offense to you fine people from Water Valley, but it's like
they're in the big city.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah. I always go, what
They
happened?
kept me in from Bruce for the day.
I'm always like, what happens to these people if they're in LA? It's over, right? I mean, just done. No chance.
That would be a good show, actually. Take the guy who's never driven on an interstate and go, the 405. Go.
It would be funny, except you'd be afraid you'd get hurt. New Jersey Turnpike. Good luck. Drop him off in Richmond and go drive to D.C. Good luck.
I think they would just stop on the interstate.
I think that.
I think they would just come to a stop
yeah.
and go, nope, I can't do it.
Downtown Houston. Have at it.
Houston or Atlanta worse?
Atlanta.
You think Atlanta's the worst?
Yeah, coming back from the NCAA tournament, I was in Columbia. I was coming back home. And so I'm driving, westbound, so straight into the sun as the traffic gets really bad in Atlanta, and which I guess was rush hour. And you can hear accidents happening around you. People are blinded by the sun and just running into each other.
Really?
Yeah, it was like a scene from a movie. Because nobody slows down. I mean, it's just It's either 80 or 0.
You could argue Atlanta's the worst driving town in America. You can make the argument.
Oh, I mean, I haven't been to every one, so I can't.
Well, yeah, of course.
But like Atlanta.
I don't know what Pittsburgh's
Atlanta's
like.
Pittsburgh's okay. Atlanta's a lot worse than Pittsburgh. Atlanta's worse than San Francisco.
L.A. is obviously awful, but I don't know if you have a range of drivers. Like, for some reason, I feel like everybody knows the score a little bit better in L.A. For some reason, maybe I'm wrong.
On places where I could live, where I would not live just because of traffic, L.A. is way up there.
Yeah, Tampa and Orlando are sneaky, terrible driving towns that you wouldn't necessarily ever put on a list, but just...
I guess I've gotten lucky in Orlando. It's always been okay. And Tampa, when I've been to Tampa...
I've never driven in Houston.
Been okay.
I've been driven in Houston, but I've never actually driven in Houston.
It's pretty nutty.
I don't know how or why or anything else, but nonetheless... Where we are.
Chet's right about Atlanta. There's no traditional grid, so you're just...
That's part of the problem.
It's pretty rough. It's you can make a legitimate
You have to know
argument.
where you're going.
Well, yeah.
That's what kind of sucks about the drive to Athens. Speaking of, Ole Miss plays there this weekend. It's kind of going through some of that area. It's like, which I haven't done in a while. I haven't been to Athens in several years.
Yeah, it's been a minute since I've been there. I can't remember the last time. I guess the last time I almost played there.
That was the baseball series over there when Mike got mad at me for quoting him correctly. That would have been 2011.
He got mad at you for quoting him correctly?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. You knew what I meant to say. Well, Mike, I don't.
Yeah. It doesn't work like that.
He was really frustrated. He was mad because the dude he goes, I mean, you look at it, we got shut down by a guy with a 6 ERA. Well, that's a great quote. I'm in.
Yeah.
He calls me and he's like, Chase, come on. I'm like, then don't say it.
Yeah. What do you want me to fix?
He's like, well, I mean, if you're gonna write down everything I say just as I say it, and I'm like, whoa, huh? All right, hold on, think about it for a minute. Like, just give me a second.
You know, when everyone's holding the recorder,
the goal is
just a hint.
So, yeah,
that's technically done for accuracy's sake.
Yeah, that was the same. It was 12 or 13 because he was feeling some pressure. And, I mean, all jokes aside, I mean, whatever. But it was funny because it's the same conversation. He's like, I mean, you tweeted out that we'd lost 5 or 7. And I was like, Mike, you have lost 5 or 7. He was like, well, the guy in Water Valley doesn't know that. And I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is. I've never minded Birmingham too much driving. I know what I'm getting. It's fine.
I actually kind of enjoy Birmingham driving.
We're all over the place.
459 is a speedway. You kind of feel like you're a race car driver.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then 280 is a little bit more of a closed course.
Okay.
Do
you still go like the little roundabout way to get there from here? Like, is this you can go all the way through now. Yeah. You don't have to do any like the Daniel Payne and all that.
No, it's straight.
That's right.
They finally got it done. It only took about 3 decades, but they got it done.
I remember we'll talk football in a second, I promise. I remember you and Ralph David Abernathy's family were having a really big conversation at one of the junior days about the best way to get through Birmingham.
Oh, yeah, because that was back then in the day.
Well, yeah, because it's like you go down Cherry Street and you do this.
Yeah, we knew all that. We were breaking down all the shortcuts.
Yeah, y'all were getting like really deep in your process there of how to get back toward Atlanta.
I actually helped them.
Yeah, because he told you what he did. And
I was like, oh, no, if you do this. Because the next time I saw him, he told me he did it, and it saved him 10 minutes.
That dude came to every junior day in Houston and went, you know what? Nah, I'm good.
No.
I'm going to pass on that one.
And then he ended up being a good player.
He was a good player.
Yeah, that was a miss.
Cincinnati?
Yeah, he went to Cincy.
So he was with Munchie.
Yeah, Munchie Legoo.
Yeah.
But I was like, you take him just because of his name.
Better than half those dudes.
And he was a really nice kid, too, that Munchie.
He came to every camp, too?
Yeah.
We saw Ralph David and Munchie at everything.
I never understood why you didn't just pull the trigger on those.
The Abernathy thing.
The Abernathy
defies
thing
more logic than anything I've...
At a time when you're still really battling all that stuff. And
he's a good player.
Yeah.
He was better than half the dudes you signed at those positions.
Oh, for sure. I never understood it.
You don't just do it for that reason, but you would have cleaned up all that immediately.
No, you do it because he's a really good player. Yeah. But the bonus of that is a huge bonus.
Hey, you guys are racist. We have Ralph David Abernathy's grandson.
Right. It was idiotic. Anyway. Sometimes it always showed to me, in all seriousness,
in hindsight.
But I kind of thought it at the time. I never thought Houston got the big picture because I didn't think he really tried.
Try is an interesting word.
I don't think he ever made an effort to understand the full big picture. I think he was so hung up on his battles with Pete Boone. Honestly, believe this. He was so locked into this personal battle with Pete Boone that he stopped doing his job.
Okay. I think it's fair. Yeah,
without realizing he was not doing his job. I think if you had stopped time and said, Houston, are you dedicated to Ole Miss football? He would have said, you're damn right.
But he became incredibly inefficient, focused on different things.
Oh, gave hours.
And frankly, never thought Ole Miss could win at a really high level.
Yes.
Deep down.
Deep down, he thought, well.
He thought he could go 8-4 for perpetuity and be more than fine.
The back-to-back Cotton Bowl thing with him was really a glimpse into his soul.
Yeah, it was what he believed.
It was what he believed. He was mad and frustrated with people like me, and he'd had enough, and he said, I don't know what you people expect.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't remember the exact quote, but we went back to back.
50.
Yeah, and so if you get past the whole, what he was saying was, hey, 50 years, you guys haven't done jack.
Mm-hmm.
I took you to 2 Cotton Bowls, now we're having a bad year, and you want to fire me? The gall. That's basically what he meant.
Yeah, I know. Talk some game times in a minute. What did I tell you about Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga? Underwriting and processing is done in Memphis, so you're getting local underwriting and understand your market. A leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
Join Coach Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss Rebels in the vault this season. Season ticket packages start at just $199. Can be purchased by visiting OleMissTix.com. That's OleMissTix.com. We're also brought to you by Lamons Fine Jewelry in Oxford. Lamons is at 1126 North Lamar Boulevard in Oxford. Been serving the Oxford area for more than 70 years. From engagement rings to wedding rings to fine jewelry, watches, pearls, fashion jewelry, children's jewelry, collectibles, and more, Lamons is the gold standard in fine jewelry. Visit them at LamonsFineJewelry.com or call them at 662-234-2777. We're also brought to you by Comer Heating and Air. It's the name you can trust. Speaking of seasons and heat and stuff like that, it's going to get hot here soon. You want to make sure your AC system is running in tip-top shape. So if you live in the Oxford, Tupelo, or surrounding areas, get in touch with Comer at 662-801-1777. And we're brought to you by the College Corner. It's got 2 locations in the Jackson area. You can also go to collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. And we're brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust based in Madison, Mississippi. They've got clients in more than 20 states, advisors in multiple states as well. They also have the Pinnacle Trust 401k advisory services team. Get in touch with them, and they'll conduct a complimentary, no-obligation benchmarking and analysis of your current 401k plan. Mention that you heard about them on the Oxford podcast as well. And we're brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you're traveling this summer, if you're traveling holiday season, you're planning something now, you want it to be a special trip that creates a lifetime of unique memories, I highly recommend you get in touch with John. Give him some parameters, give him a budget, and he'll give you options that you're not going to find on your own. And no, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast.
Podcast is also brought to you by Visit Oxford. Visit oxfordms.com. Go to the events page, see what's going on today, this week, and always locally. The Oxford Community Market at the Old Armory Pavilion, 3 o'clock to 6:30 each Tuesday. That means today. That means May 25th, and so on this time of year. You've got, again, the World Championship All-Time Piano Playing Contest and Festival, May 28th and 29th, and the Summer Sunset Series in the Grove. Music during the summer, the concert series, 6 to 7:30, beginning June 6th for that. So that and more going on this summer. Visit oxfordms.com/events. So, yeah, this earlier today, times and channels came out, including Ole Miss and Louisville. The Rebels ranked 18th by somebody here early on. They kind of capped the weekend, the final game of the 4 marquee national games on ESPN over the course of the holiday weekend. September 6th, that is Labor Day, and it is a 7 o'clock kick on ESPN there in Atlanta. Who else is in Atlanta? Is it Alabama? Is that the other Alabama game?
Yeah, it's Alabama.
The other Atlanta game.
Isn't it Alabama, Miami, or are they in Dallas?
I don't remember.
Is it Auburn Clemson? No, I mean Georgia Clemson that's in Atlanta.
I thought it was Alabama, but I don't know that.
I had it up a minute ago.
Yeah, for the weekend, your 4 marquee games: number 2 Alabama versus number 25 Miami, 2:30 on the 4th for that one. So that's
Saturday.
That's on Saturday, and then the 6:30 is kind of the doubleheader. Number 4 Georgia versus number 1 Clemson. Both those games are on ABC on Saturday, and then the one game on Sunday. Number 15 Notre Dame. We mentioned them as maybe an upset alert against Florida State. On that Sunday. So those are your.
It's a pretty good lineup.
It's a really good lineup. You get a little bit of everything.
I mean, Georgia Clemson in.
Do you give Georgia much of a chance?
Sure.
Do you?
They got talent everywhere.
They do.
I mean, I think Clemson's better than them.
Do we believe in just another quarterback and roll him right in and everything's cool at Clemson? DJ, whatever his name is.
He looked pretty good when he played.
He was fine. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're loaded everywhere else.
Well, they're both completely and utterly loaded. That's not much of a thing.
Where's the UGA Clemson game? Does it say? We have Marks thinks it's home and home. I thought it was home and home too, but someone says it's in Charlotte.
That first weekend?
Yeah.
Bank of America Stadium, Charlotte.
Charlotte. Okay.
Yes, that is correct. The opening weekend in the SEC is Rice at Arkansas at home.
Yep.
Akron at Auburn at home.
Okay.
Florida Atlantic at Florida at home. UL Monroe, Kentucky, in Lexington. Terry Bowden making his debut as head coach. He went back and got his degree. See that? He got a master's degree.
I saw that.
So now he's a master now at this coaching thing.
That's great.
All these years later.
Where did he get the master's?
Was it like Auburn?
That was Clemson.
Was it Clemson? No, you're right. I think it was Clemson. You're right. There was some orange and something. I think it was Clemson.
I think that's right.
Was that a necessity or why? I mean, obviously he didn't have to. But.
I think to be a GA, he wanted to be a GA and learn about Clemson a little bit. And to be a GA, he had to take classes.
Okay.
Terry is a smart guy.
As much as you want to make fun of him.
He is. He's a very intelligent guy.
Just a bad football coach?
Well, there's just a lot there.
I mean, he completely fell out of it after the Auburn thing.
It was bad.
Didn't go well.
As a rule, quitting on your team in October is not the best resume.
Not ideal.
Not the best.
Not the way to impress other ADs to go, you know what, we're going to give you a shot.
Yeah, no, I mean, the way to do that is if you know you're getting canned, hey, you know what, I'm going to give it everything I've got till the last minute, and then we'll let go at that point.
LSU is at UCLA in the Rose Bowl opening weekend.
Oh, that's an interesting game.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why, Neal? Why? Why is that interesting?
Wow, that just sort of caught my eye.
What?
I'll say it. It's UCLA with Chip Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Will be a thing we're watching on the Ole Miss beat. And if you believe, like I do, that Ed Orgeron can't survive at LSU this year, that's an opening we'll be watching. Not saying that Lane Kiffin would go to either one of those two places. His name would pop up in both of those searches.
Yeah, that's fair.
His name would absolutely pop up in both of those searches.
Your Louisiana Tech Bulldogs are at Mississippi State to open the season. They're in Starkville.
Yeah,
You got that one a little circled.
Chris and I talked about that game a little bit on SEC Football and Beyond today. State's schedule's kind of weird. It could get squirrely there, unless you really believe in them. If you believe in them, then whatever, they'll maul some of these teams. But I'm not quite so sure. I think they beat Louisiana Tech. Don't get me wrong, but Tech's okay.
You can at least make the argument that's like the 5th best game of the weekend.
Yeah,
behind the 3 national games and then whatever else you want to throw in that mix. Eastern Illinois, South Carolina, Bowling Green, Tennessee, Kent State A&M, East Tennessee State, Vanderbilt, in-state rivalry there. And then the three biggest ones, Alabama, Miami, Georgia, Clemson, and Ole Miss, and Louisville. Alabama is also in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. That's correct.
Yeah. And they announced
so Florida State's in Orlando? Where's that game?
I don't know. For some reason, I think that's right.
Okay.
Didn't they announce a lot of the September 11th games too?
Did they?
I think so.
Like times and stuff?
Yeah. Like I saw where Arkansas and Texas are primetime that night in Fayetteville. It's the 20th anniversary of 9/11.
Oh. Wow.
20 years.
That kind of catches me off guard a little bit. I don't even necessarily know why, but it just, yeah. Somebody tell us, where's that game?
The Texas-Arkansas game?
No, Notre Dame, Florida State.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, Orlando sounds right. Hell, it might be in Tallahassee.
It's in Tallahassee.
Okay.
Yeah, Notre Dame at Florida State, Tallahassee, Doak Campbell Stadium. The cheapest ticket currently is $178.
Yeah.
While I'm looking at that.
I think there's going to be huge crowds all over the place. People are going to be jacked up. So I was talking to the girls this morning when I saw that the time schedule for Arkansas, Texas at 6 o'clock at night. That place will be packed that night.
Ooh.
Texas coming to town in Fayetteville. They'll be 1-0. I presume they'll beat Rice.
I see no times on ESPN.com yet for week 2, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Who's Ole Miss play that day? It's like
Austin P.
Austin P.
The profile games that day are Arkansas, Texas. Vandy having a little bit of a test. They're at Colorado State that day. For Vanderbilt, that's a big game.
Yeah.
Clark Lee. A&M is against Colorado. So Vandy's playing Colorado State. A&M's playing Colorado that day. Pitt is at Tennessee that day.
Yeah, it's a weird spot for Pitt.
Yeah,
for Tennessee,
Yeah. South Carolina is at East Carolina. NC State is at Mississippi State.
Dave Doran coming to town.
That's right.
Yeah.
Coming to Mississippi. Going to take a plane ride to Mississippi. Missouri, Kentucky kick off the SEC schedule in week 2. McNeese at LSU, UAB at Georgia, Florida, South Florida, and Mercer and Alabama. Alabama currently the second cheapest ticket of the week for week 2. McNeese, LSU, the cheapest ticket of the week. So.
Yeah, Doors Rules points out. Remember that Texas Ole Miss game here?
13.
13?
Yep.
And that was a night game, and this place was a zoo. I suspect Fayetteville will be a similar zoo.
And that was such an interesting game for Ole Miss because they got waxed, but it still was this almost kind of step one build moment.
Oh, for sure.
In a way.
Because the environment.
The environment, they scored some points. They got beat like 56-35 or something.
Yeah.
I forget what it was.
They got popped.
Yeah, but
the environment, I remember thinking this will be easy to sell this to recruits, and it was.
Yeah, he kind of left and went. That was 12 because they went.
That's
Texas
right. It was 12.
Popped them in 13.
That's right.
Because that was Hughes lock the gates and pick a fight. Pre-game speech in Austin next year. They kind of got on them pretty good over there.
Yeah, they beat them. They beat Texas pretty good that night.
They were wearing the blue, the white with the blue on the blue, which most people didn't care for too much.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that uniform was short lived with the white tops with the navy lettering.
Yeah,
Did you see where they're putting powder in some of the recruit images?
I've been saying it. I've been telling you it's coming.
Was it 63-36? Okay, I'll take your word for
Yeah,
it.
it was a lot. It was a lot of points. But I remember thinking, all you have to tell kids is, hey, look, we don't have the players yet, and that's not our fault. But once we get them, this is what we're going to play in, which is exactly what they did. Recruiting's not that complicated. And it worked.
It's very similar for Arkansas. Yeah, because at that time, I think Ole Miss was 2-0, if I have this right, because they were losing at halftime against Central Arkansas in that 12 opener, and then they beat UTEP 28-7 or something like that.
Yeah, and whatever it was. Yeah, and then Texas came in the next week, and you sort of knew they weren't going to win the game, but that really wasn't the point.
Yeah, no, they weren't winning the game.
Yeah, I mean they were outmatched.
Were they a favorite the next year in Austin?
Ooh,
my guess is no by a slim margin.
My guess is Texas was favored, but I remember thinking that Ole Miss would win that game. And did so fairly convincingly.
Yeah, Bo played well. 44-23 in Austin next year.
Yeah. And don't remember it even being that close.
Jeff Scott, 19 carries for 164 yards that night.
2 ships passing in the night in Austin.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, Ole Miss outscored them 27-0 in the second half.
Yeah.
It was actually 23-17 Texas at halftime. And Ole Miss outscored them 27-0.
I'd love to tell you that I can remember the details of that game, but I don't.
I was just hoping for a line, but I'm not seeing one.
Kevin Durant was there that night. I do remember that.
Was it really?
Yeah, he was in Austin.
They had 100% sellout, 78,712. And it was on the Longhorn Network. But that's all I got. I don't have a line. I was hoping for a line. Texas at the time was 1-2 on the season. Oh yeah, that's right. Texas had lost to BYU a week earlier. I do remember that now.
Yeah, now that you say that,
they had beaten BYU. So anyway, whatever.
They were troubled.
They were troubled,
and Ole Miss popped them.
Yeah, and they've stayed troubled since.
Yeah, because Ole Miss was getting good at that point. It was happening. And
the kids were trying to grow up a little bit right there.
You could see it happening. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there was a tangible. Oh wow, this program has momentum. At that moment,
I get that Ole Miss got this game prior to Lane Kiffin, but they didn't get the time slot prior to Lane, prior to playing pretty well last year, to looking like an up and coming program. That Monday night, when you're the only game in town, that's one hell of a time slot. They got a good spot there now.
Oh, sure. Look, and it's sort of a similar feel, isn't it? I mean, there's a lot of parallels. They are emerging as a high-profile program. Again, after several years of basic purgatory from a network standpoint, where the network said, why are we showing them? And now Ole Miss is kind of –
TV likes them.
Yeah, TV loves them. You get Kiffin and all his stuff, and you get kind of – it's what they're being marketed, and they've done a really good job of it as this
for some points,
clean, new, fun, score from far, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so look, I don't think the powder blue pants and the recruit pictures are by accident.
You gonna wear them in the opener?
Do they have them?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Do we have an early line on this game?
I have not seen one. Are they the home team technically or the visiting team? Because they have to be one or the other.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Hold on. I had it up a second ago.
It's a 7 o'clock Central game.
Yeah, correct.
8 Eastern.
Correct.
Yeah, late night in Atlanta. Oof.
That's a midnight getting out of there kind of deal.
Oh, it's a 2 in the morning.
Well, yeah, actually getting out of there.
Getting back into your hotel room, and that's where you stare at the walls and go, I'm nowhere close to sleeping.
Ole Miss is the away team from a uniform standpoint.
Yeah. Louisville's going to wear its red jerseys.
They are.
There's your opportunity to wear white on blue.
Louisville might do something stupid and wear black on black because Louisville gets a little dumb at times.
Yeah, and that'd be fine. But they're going to wear a color, so you're probably going to go with a white top.
So you got to put some pants with it. I feel very confident about a powder helmet on that night. That Navy helmet is not getting off the bus.
I could see a white top with powder numbers, a powdered pant. He loves the powder, and the kids love it. That's the biggest thing. Is it a good uniform? You know that they do the flow charts?
Yeah.
The flow charts is, do the kids like it? And if the answer is yes, then it's a good uniform. If the kids don't like it, then no, it's not a good uniform. It doesn't matter what else. Right. It doesn't matter what.
Do the alumni like it? Doesn't matter.
That's bonus.
Yeah. No? Okay, well, do the kids like it? Yes, proceed.
Yeah. That's it.
Louisville coming off a 4-7 season. They're kind of sort of trendy in the ACC. People like Scott Satterfield, okay.
Good coach.
Yeah, they're fine. Ole Miss should win the football game.
Absolutely.
If they're what we think they are, they should win the football game.
Yeah.
That's that. I mean, and
it's a showcase. Everyone's watching that night. NFL hasn't started yet. NFL starts on Thursday. You have the show to yourself.
When people are football starved and ready
to roll.
They've had a day out at the grill. They said, we're going to sit down and turn the game on.
Yep. Got to go to work tomorrow, but you don't have to go to work tonight.
Yeah.
And that's on. Yeah, for sure.
It's got a little bit of a Thanksgiving, but everybody's gonna be a little buzzed, a little whatever, and you're
more fun than Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I mean, hot take: Labor Day is a better holiday than Thanksgiving.
It is. The going to work next day is the only problem with it. That's the negative to Labor Day.
Yeah.
You should do Labor Day on like Saturday or Sunday and still.
You should.
Labor Day should be Sunday with the Monday off.
Yeah, in the same way that the Super Bowl should be on Saturday with Sunday off to recover.
Because that way you don't even have to give an extra day. Just play it on Saturday.
Yeah, just play the game on Saturday.
Well, they've been this whole marketing thing called Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, I get it.
That a lot of money has been put into
I understand.
to be Super Bowl Sunday. Now it's going to be Super Bowl Saturday.
I'm in.
Okay.
Sunday Recovery Day.
No, that
National
makes
Day
sense.
of Recovery.
Just give the Monday off. Who cares?
I'm fine with that too.
We have holidays for every damn thing else. I mean, school doesn't have to be out. They can go.
But yeah, no, look, people will have spent the day out at the pool and on the lake or at the whatever.
The grill has been lit. The barbecue's been on the smoker.
A lot of people will be kind of lit, and they'll turn that on. It's absolutely an opportunity.
Yeah. Podcast brought to you in part by Northeast Spark, SPARC. 2 packages of internet available: the Ignite, the 100 Mbps, or the Blaze, the 1 gig that powers the Clark Ford studio. Your hometown team bringing you world-class broadband. nespark.com, 662-238-3159. Phone service available, as well as parental control, network security, and more. Again, find out if they're in your area, and if so, get the best internet around. 662-238-3159.
We're also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles, great lease deals as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. We're also brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB is home to Kasasa. It's the absolute best cash checking account. And with Kasasa, OUB will pay customers 2.5% interest on their balances up to $50,000 and refund ATM fees nationwide. To learn more, go to liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. Also brought to you by Bain, Moss & Bowen, located in historic downtown Corinth. Their firm practices a wider range of law, from DUI defense to car wrecks to representing government entities. Bain, Moss & Bowen is the only firm in Mississippi made up of a sitting state legislator, a former assistant district attorney, and a former circuit court judge. That experience is unmatched in that regard, and you can tap into it by visiting them at 618 East Waldron Street in Corinth or by calling them at 662-287-1620. And we're brought to you by Alpha Specialties, located at 1670 Highway 80 in Pearl, Mississippi. It's your trailer-specific professional. If you want to haul it, they can call it at Alpha. They're home to Hallmark Cargo Trailers, one of the most quality cargo trailers on the market today. Perfect for hauling goods to markets and shows, ATVs to deer camps, hauling race cars, and much more. For podcast listeners, Alpha has spare tires and wheels starting at just $100. A full selection of trailer parts and accessories, hitches, winches, straps, and more. They also do all sorts of truck accessories, and they have a full-service shop. Listeners get 10% off a yearly trailer service and inspection at that full-service shop. So give them a call, 601-932-9798, or check them out at alphaofms.com.
Yeah, looking at like Louisville's schedule last year, they go 4-7. They get wins over Western Kentucky, 35-21. Then they lose 4 in a row. They lose to Miami, Pitt, Georgia Tech, and Notre Dame. Played well against a couple of pretty good teams, though. Notre Dame beats them 12-7 in what has to be one of the most boring games of the season. Georgia Tech pops them a little bit, 46-27. Pitt beats them at Heinz Field, 23-20, and Miami beat them 47-34. They beat they beat Florida State, 48-16, a really bad Seminoles team. They lose by 7 to Virginia Tech. They lose by 14 to Virginia. They beat Syracuse 30-0, but everybody beat Syracuse 30-0. They lose to Boston College 34-27, and then pot Wake Forest to end the season. So I mean, they're fine, but there's nothing in that schedule to get anybody overly excited except a couple close losses.
No, I mean, I don't think Ole Miss is going to roll them 49-10 or anything, but
there's nothing in there that goes, oh, I'll tell you, they're
no, it's a game Ole Miss should win.
A rolling ball of butcher knives. Tommy would say.
Yeah.
They have an interesting schedule. Ole Miss is not a must-win for them at all. They're going to get a gimme against Eastern Kentucky the next week. And then they get 2 in a row that are winnable, but also very losable and can put them in a weird spot. UCF at home and at Florida State. So early schedule kind of weird there for Louisville. It could go a number of ways. But that ACC schedule is just kind of soft. There's just nothing. There's so few guaranteed losses in that league. They play Clemson on November 6th, but otherwise there's not much there. They get Kentucky at home to end the season this year. So get Duke right before that, and David's had a hard time kind of keeping that program up the last couple of years. Duke's fallen off from where he kind of had them there for a while.
Yeah, the kind of
tough place for sustainability.
Feels like that's going on the wrong side of the.
It's running toward its conclusion.
Yeah,
I don't know how quickly.
He's had a hell of a run.
Oh, done all you can. I mean,
sure. Made a.
When they hired David Cutcliffe, they said, "Hey, here's your list of records and what you did." They had taken it without even thinking about it and said, "Done." Yeah. He went to a Cotton Bowl.
Sure.
Played Johnny. Might have done more than that too, but I know they did that for sure. Did they ever eke out like a division title in that really bad side?
Didn't they play in one title game?
That's what I'm. For some reason that sticks.
I don't know.
You're not sure?
Seems like they played in a title game. Played a good team and got smoked.
I'm realizing I'm forgetting a lot of this dumber trivia stuff this year. I guess just stuff going on. Like I'm not remembering like the 2013.
It's not necessary to remember.
It's not. Nobody's going to judge you over. Hey, you don't remember that? You dumbass. Like, I get it. Yeah, they won the Coastal in 2013.
I thought so.
They did. Finished second in the Coastal in 14. Had a pretty good little run there. That's the year they played A&M.
Oh, that's the Manziel gift where he goes, "What's going on?"
Yeah. They go 10-2 in the regular season. Yeah, they went 10-2 in the regular season. Losing to Georgia Tech and Pitt, and then rolling off like 8 in a row. And then they played number 1 in Florida State, I guess Jameis, in the title game, in the ACC title game. Got beat 45-7. And then they lost 52-48 to Johnny and the Aggies.
Gotcha.
To finish the year 10-4. So there's that for whatever reason. If anyone cares, I don't think they do, but nonetheless, there's
your Duke trivia for the day.
Whatever. It's the off season. It's absolutely the off season. So.
A lot of mask announcements lately. Did you see all the different mask announcements and
all One Direction or what?
Everything's kind of going well, with the exception of California. Everything's kind of going in one direction pretty quickly.
What did California say?
They extended theirs till June 15th.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So where?
So who else has said what?
Well, like for example, Florida said University of Florida mask optional in the fall
for classes.
Yeah.
Okay. Ole Miss has said no need for masks if you're vaccinated.
Yeah, that upset some people.
Did it?
Yeah.
Like people inside something?
Yeah, it's upset a certain professor at the University of Mississippi.
Oh, really?
He's concerned about his big class with 200 people. You know, what if the kids aren't vaccinated? Should he? He wanted to know, should he demand that they prove they're vaccinated? And I said, you absolutely can't, but you should.
You should?
You should, because I'd love to see
You should ask for that?
Yeah, because that would probably not go over particularly well. It's probably illegal. You know what I mean?
That. I mean,
other than the legality of it all. Arkansas and Florida are playing this weekend in Fayetteville. Speaking of Florida, it's the first time this season that Baum is 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
So they'll get one weekend before it closes back up?
Well, I went back to baseball for this reason, not because it's significant to this show that Arkansas baseball is going to go 100%, although I'm happy for the kids there that it is because they've had a special season and it should be, they should have that opportunity. I say that to say this. There are some rumblings out there about Hoover.
Oh, yeah.
That an announcement's coming.
Yeah.
And I do think it's significant that when you look around the country, a place like Arkansas that I think had gone to 60% is suddenly, hey, screw it, we're wide open 100%. My quasi-informed prediction here is that I don't know what Hoover will be, but it will be higher than 50, and it might be 100 by the time they go to it. Here's the truth. Very rarely does the SEC tournament sell out, if you will. It happens, but very rarely on the first 2 or 3 days of the tournament do you look out there and go,
it takes a freaking final. Well, now here's the problem, though, on the 50%. Can they only sell 50% tickets for the sessions or the day? Like, that's the question on the 50%.
But you could change it at the last minute and
go,
it's walk up.
Yeah, sure. And that's the goal. My point being, if you were kind of rigid on that, there's a whole big difference on, hey, 50% per game and 50% per session.
Yes.
Because that completely changes the dynamics of how many people fit in there over the course of it. But I think you're right. My antenna went up, and I went, no, they left a lot of leeway in that announcement to change it and increase it as the year moves toward Hoover.
Arkansas has been really conservative with it, and when they did that the other day, I went, oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. Tennessee was packed the other day in Knoxville for that series. The Met holds the Hoover Metropolitan Stadium, for those who don't know what the hell I'm talking about. It holds
12?
I was going to say 12, 13.
Sure.
It very rarely, especially the first 2 or 3 days of the tournament, has 13,000 people in it.
No, it takes like an Ole Miss LSU state final kind of deal to really fill
and so
it up.
my guess is that there are no limits first few days of the tournament.
Or, I mean, I guess technically Alabama and Auburn, too.
I covered it one time that it was in Alabama. I think it was Alabama-Auburn in the final back in the day. And holy hell, it was like 3 hours traffic just to get in. It was insane.
All the sidewalk fans showing up for the baseball game.
Everybody. It was nuts.
The percentage of people in that stadium that day who had been to any other baseball game that year was very low.
5 or less.
You think so?
Yeah.
Football jerseys in the crowd.
Oh, yeah, of course.
12s.
Yeah, I think it was Tyler Watts at the time was the big Alabama player.
Was it?
His was everywhere.
10,800.
Yeah.
Sure.
I just think it'll be wide open. They did the 50% thing, I think, knowing, hey, look, realistically, when there's a first-round game between South Carolina and
Florida.
Tennessee or Florida,
there's
4,000 people anyway. It's all right.
Yeah.
There's plenty of room to socially distance.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's going to be an issue. I think it's kind of going in that direction. Which makes me wonder if a week later the NCAA kind of relents a little. Because everyone's relenting right now.
So nothing is in that park anymore except for Hoover High School football and then the tournament?
I think so. I think that's it because the Barons play downtown at that really nice park.
That is a good park. Regions Park.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good.
And for the people who say, why don't you play the SEC tournament there? Because there's no place for people to park.
It's not built for that.
Now, if you were going to do this deal where you have hardcore rules on no tailgating and stuff like that, well, then you could move it downtown. But the Mets...
It's what people don't realize is that the Hoover Met, just kind of by happenstance, became perfect for everything associated with the SEC baseball tournament, and a normal minor league facility is not built for that level of tournament with that many media and fans and tailgaters and RVs and the whole deal. I mean, Chris Lee talked about Nashville downtown and goes, there's no press area, there's no suite area. Like you would have to do tons of things there.
Well, yeah, because those teams don't have a lot of media.
There are 3 press boxes at the Hoover Met. 3.
Yeah, well, there's a big one and then a big one above it and then a huge auxiliary press
down the right
box
field line
with a balcony.
Because it also doubles as hospitality and a lot of other stuff.
It just makes sense.
In every way.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be the guy who goes, hey, move it from the Hoover Met because of whatever. Because most of the people that go to the Hoover Met also, and you have plenty of other options, we made fun of this, they're going to stay in their RVs, they're going to go to Bonefish, and we're just all hanging out.
Sure.
It works. It's great.
Because it's kind of a laid-back environment.
It's it's why it's fun. That's what's fun about it.
And then from the league standpoint, in a normal year, they're leaving the tournament as the tournament winds down.
They're going to Destin.
SEC staff's getting to Destin. Well, they don't
SEC meetings.
Yeah, and so they start, because if you ever notice, if you ever go to the thing from start to finish, you'll notice there are fewer and fewer SEC officials as it rolls on because they're heading to Destin to get ready. Because the media days, I mean, the SEC meetings typically start on that Tuesday morning after the tournament.
Yeah, you see an AD, 18, I remember seeing Ross talking to him before Ole Miss's semifinal or final game or whatever, and he came in literally for the game on the way to Destin.
Yes.
Stopped in, watched the game, and was driving to Destin as soon as the game was over.
Of course. So it just makes sense. It's one of those events that it checks all of the boxes, and the people who've never been to it who don't get it are like, I don't understand why Hoover of all places, and that is a perfectly legitimate take until you go to the tournament, and then you're like, oh,
because it is the most laid back baseball environment you'll ever be in.
Yeah,
nobody really cares.
Well, usually by that point in the year,
everybody
kind of knows what's up.
Just sort of hanging out.
Yeah, I mean,
other than the state media, everybody's really calm, and it's fine. They're protecting their tournament.
They're nuts, certifiable. But I love you guys. I do. So, I think you're cute.
Well, I mean,
Tyler, good to hear from you.
It's like, was it 14 or 15 or whatever year? It was 14. Because David Murray walked up to a couple of us and started trying to give us Omaha recommendations, and I'm like, I can't decide if you're being passive aggressive right now or what you're worried about your team, so I can't really figure out what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then I'm sitting in the press box and I'm listening to behind me, and I guess Ole Miss is playing, and he's railing on and on and on about I bet Laquan Treadwell got paid. I bet he got, and he's literally talking to himself behind him. What in the hell is going on? I mean, I was like,
oh my God, I hate that I missed that.
Yeah, he's just muttering behind me. And I'm like, what the? That's where I saw Steve's book cover for the first time. Somebody showed it to me in the press box thing. Yeah,
the Flim Flam?
Had a lot going on.
This was before the poetry.
This was Flim Flam.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Will Salmon showed it to me. I have that.
Man, you talk about somebody that didn't fit in on a beat. I used to love talking to Will. He's like, thank you for not lumping me in with everybody else.
Yeah, you get to Hoover and he's sitting down himself. I'm like, hey, this seat's taken. He's like, no, please. Go ahead. Go ahead. Listen.
One day Will said, I'm not like all those other ones, right? And you're like, yeah, dude, we get it.
What's he doing now?
Covering the Brewers.
Oh, is it?
Isn't he?
That's right. You told
Covering
me
the Brewers for the Athletic. Yeah.
I forgot that.
Doing a really good job.
Yeah, I forgot he was doing that. So, podcast brought to you in part by Tyson Drugs and G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. Tyson Drugs, they're on the Square in Holly Springs, G&M on South Lamar in Oxford. Take advantage of MedSync to fill your prescriptions the same day each month. Let them take care of you, whether it be one delivery or one carryout. G&M has what you need when you need it from a pharmaceutical standpoint. 662-236-2222.
We're also brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans. They make the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit, and hand-tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi. One size fits one at BlueDeltaJeans.com. Blue Delta's been advertising with us for the past 3 years, according to Chase. And we've always directed you to DM them to set up a time to get measured. But now, whether you're coming to Oxford or not, you can visit BlueDeltaJeans.com to get measured by their new virtual tailor and design your very own jeans. Just for our podcast listeners, enter discount code Rebel Grove. That's one word, all lowercase, Rebel Grove at checkout, and take 10% off your order. The most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. You'll feel the same way as well. We are also brought to you by, as my computer goes nutty, The Rogue. The Rogue is your destination for fine men's clothing. Their stylist hand-select pieces from top designers, from work to lifestyle to nightlife. There's the perfect something for everyone at The Rogue. All the best items from Peter Millar, Martin Dingman, Jack Victor, Duckhead, Halsey, True Grit, and more at The Rogue, 4450 I-55 North in Jackson, or therogue.com. And we're brought to you by Joey Erickson at Heron Gear Chevrolet. Let Joey help you find the vehicle you're looking for at a price you can afford. Choose from a full selection of new Chevy vehicles or get a great deal on numerous brands of reliable pre-owned vehicles. Give Joey a call or text on his cell, 662-571-2367. Tell him what you're looking for. Or stop by 1685 High Street in Jackson to test drive that new or used vehicle you've been wanting and let him earn your business. Tell him that you heard about Joey on the Oxford Exxon Podcast or the Soft Verbal Podcast, and with your vehicle selection, you'll get a $50 gas card.
Kendall put out the D1 baseball projections with a week until the conference tournaments a few minutes ago. Ole Miss would take this right now if they don't have any illusions of a top 8 seed. That's not going to be the case. They would take this immediately. Ole Miss, the number 13 national seed. That's not really relevant. It has them matched up with the Tennessee Volunteers. Out of all the options, you'd be more than happy to be matched up with Tennessee.
Yep.
For Tennessee, a lot of teams in that first round get a little happy to be there a little bit. You can sort of take advantage of that. And then also, NC State would be possible to win that Knoxville Regional. The Wolfpack's playing a little better. Tennessee has NC State the 2, Maryland the 3, and Wofford the 4 over there in Knoxville. This means absolutely nothing. Nobody knows. But the 2, 3, 4 in Oxford, Georgia Tech, South Alabama, and Southeast Missouri State. Ole Miss would also take that. They would take gladly.
That. They'd sign up
and run with it.
Sure.
From an SEC standpoint, Arkansas the number 1 national seed. That's not a shock. Vanderbilt the number 2 national seed. Vanderbilt with a little bit of a weird draw. They throw Louisville in there for geographical reasons to Vanderbilt. Louisville has had a heck of a year, but their RPI is completely under garbage for reasons that I'm not really sure of exactly. But their RPI is awful, so they are not on the hosting list. And they will be a 2 seed somewhere. They like matching up Louisville and Vandy. The NCAA does that a lot for
COVID does not
reasons.
Spread if the team only travels a short distance.
By bus.
Right.
Because Nashville and Louisville is about 2.5 hours from one another.
Yeah. You can't get it on a bus.
So they can do that. Austin, Texas, the number 3 seed. Tennessee, the 4. Arizona, the 5. Fairfield gets a 3 seed. We talked about that yesterday.
Good for them.
So they're in. Tucson is the 3 seed. Oklahoma State is the 2 that gets opened up with Fairfield.
Yeah, a little weather shock going from Connecticut to Tucson, but sure.
South Bend, not just getting cute, but Notre Dame getting the 6th national seed with like the number 18 RPI in the country.
Okay.
TCU the 7, and then State gets the 8 in this one. Lubbock, Texas Tech gets the 9. Georgia, a 3 seed in Texas Tech. We think that's about the line for the Bulldogs, around that 3 seed, as long as nothing crazy happens. And they get in. Oregon gets the number 10 national seed. Florida gets the number 11. Miami, the number 3 seed there. Kind of a tough 3 seed there for the Gators with the Hurricanes. East Carolina welcomes in South Carolina as their number 2 seed. So Carolina in line for a 2 seed there in Greenville, North Carolina. The Pirates, the 12 seed.
That one actually makes a lot of sense.
It does, yeah, all the way around. Stanford gets the 4. The 14. Gonzaga gets the 15, putting 2 more on the West Coast.
Wow.
They like doing that. And then Ruston coming in dead last at 16, getting a host site for the Bulldogs.
I'm really hopeful that happens. All jokes aside, it would be.
And then gets absolutely no favors with Florida State and LSU being their 2 and their 3.
Yeah, but I would be super.
It's not about that for them.
Not about that. I would be super happy for them having built what they've built and built the stadium and Ruston, the whole deal. I think it would be really cool for them to have a regional.
It feels like if there's any way to do it, they slide into that 16 spot.
Yeah, because they're only going to get one once in a blue moon. So it would be cool if they got one this time. And I think they deserve it, really.
Geographically, this says that somebody's going to get kind of really pushed across the coast. North Carolina, the one in this in this case, a 3 seed in Spokane, Washington.
Yeah.
So the Tar Heels being the one that goes across the country.
They probably can't get COVID going that far.
Time changes.
Yeah, you confused it. You'll totally
errors things.
Well, because the virus doesn't get you after 10 o'clock, and if you're doing 3 time changes, it's going to get lost.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what Kendall said earlier today.
Who do you have in Tex Regional?
And
Florida State, LSU, and somebody?
VCU, Virginia Commonwealth.
I would be really curious to see what the crowd would be in Ruston for a Florida State LSU game. Probably full.
Under what thought?
It's a lot of LSU interest because it's,
and take people show up because they would just enjoy the whole weekend at that point. They would come in. Yeah, Florida State, the 2, who Florida State probably has a resume befitting a host, but they were not one of the top 20 sites selected, so they're going to get sent somewhere no matter what. What's funny about this, and maybe the teams are playing this way, is in theory your host spot gets chosen no matter kind of what you've done. There are no 2 hosts on this list. All the hosts are 1 seeds in this bracket. So
And that's probably what will happen.
Yeah, just something to kind of watch as you move forward, but that's the way that's working out. I don't know the 4 teams off the top of my head that are not getting hosts that are out of that top 20. Charlotte is one for sure. Pitt is one for sure because Pitt's RPI has fallen into the 40s. I just don't see how in the world you pull that off.
They're not.
The ACC in general is having RPI issues. I don't know why, how, what's happened, but they are. As this thing moves forward. Josh Mallett's on the mound for the Rebels tonight against the Skyhawks. Let's see Greer Holston get an inning tonight in a non-conference game. Let's senior finish his career actually getting on the field one last time. Kind of curious what Mike does in relief, assuming he doesn't have to do anything crazy and use a important arm against UT Martin as this thing moves forward. UT Martin 17-27 on the season, 9-15, I believe, in the OVC.
Yeah, this is where you just want to
get out of here.
Yeah, just
throw
win.
Strikes.
Just win.
Thanks.
Let's go.
Well, that didn't work real well a couple weeks ago. He had to really start using some arms, and he was not tickled about it.
He was probably irritated.
Yeah, he was pissed. He was not happy. Joe Burrow on track for full go week 1 for the Bengals. So anybody looking into their fantasy stuff a little bit, he's healthy and all moving forward there. So anyway, just seeing that around the line. The PGA Championship is this weekend, the second major of the golf season.
Where's that?
Kiowa Island, South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Last time it was there, Rory McIlroy won by 8 shots, something like that.
Okay.
So 2012, 13, something like that. So they're in Kiowa. Our Blue Delta buddies are in Kiowa. They're getting the top 25 U.S. Ryder Cup possibilities measured for the Ryder Cup later this year, the official genes of the Ryder Cup. So talked to Blake about that earlier this week. And, so we will be with you tomorrow. We'll talk about, whatever happens between now and then, including a baseball game that hopefully for the Rebels goes kind of uneventfully tonight as they get ready for Georgia. Remember, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
For everybody.
Everybody. Everybody gets done one day earlier because of Hoover starting on Tuesday. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I believe for Ole Miss. I had it up at one point. I don't know all the games off the top of my head. I know it's a 6 o'clock start on Thursday night. I don't know what they do otherwise. TV also is a wraparound. They do kind of a wild card weekend on SEC Network, so you can catch a little of everybody. The series this weekend, Mississippi State at Alabama. You want to pull for Alabama if you're an Ole Miss fan. Florida at Arkansas. It really doesn't matter to you anyway, but you frankly are better off Arkansas just knocking Florida out of there.
Frankly, what you would like is for Arkansas to handle them and eliminate any chance of...
Go ahead and call that a day and move on.
Because Arkansas is going to host. That's done.
Auburn and Missouri, you don't really care, but if you are going to play, you'd rather play Auburn because of RPI purposes and Hoover instead of Missouri where they have a crap RPI. Tennessee and South Carolina, you're big Gamecocks fans this weekend to mess with the Vols. LSU and A&M, you couldn't care less.
Nope.
It makes no difference to you. And then Kentucky, Vanderbilt, I guess pull from Kentucky, but it does not matter at all to you either.
Well, Vanderbilt.
Well, no, frankly, you need Vanderbilt's RPI to be good. You actually are better off with Vanderbilt beating the hell out of Kentucky all weekend and taking care of it.
Arkansas and Vanderbilt are going to be national top 8 seeds.
No matter what they do.
They're done. So you might as well cheer for them this weekend because they can only help you.
Tennessee and State are much more susceptible than Arkansas and Vanderbilt.
If I'm an Ole Miss fan, the 3 series that I'm watching is Ole Miss's, and then I'm watching Alabama. I'm cheering for Alabama, and I'm cheering for South Carolina.
Yeah.
And I'm cheering for Arkansas because I don't want Florida to go up there and sweep Arkansas, and all of a sudden they're in a conversation.
Yeah, and remember, Alabama staying in the top 25 really helps Ole Miss's metrics. They are currently 25th in the RPI.
Those are so I'm watching kind of 3.5 series if I'm
I think that's right.
Paying attention.
So, anyway, covers your Rebel Grove of tonight as well as whatever else goes on throughout the week. So hope you guys enjoy your day, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.